Fighting on the front line near the city of Lyman in eastern Ukraine involves not only artillery strikes, but also close-quarters combat. The commander of Russian forces in Ukraine has admitted that the situation in the east of the country is tense, as Ukrainian troops continue to advance in the Donbass region and towards the city of Kherson in the south. Russian officials have told residents they should leave Kherson. They say they are expecting Ukrainian forces to launch an attack on the city in the very near future. Ukrainian forces are also continuing their advance in the Donbass region around the key city of Lyman. Almost 8 months on from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, its forces are struggling while Ukraine has advanced and regained territory in the east and south. In the eastern Donbass region, the city of Bakhmut remains a Russian target, however, and its troops are making progress. The city reverberates to the sound of constant shelling, day and night. It's been going on for weeks. In Bakhmut, Russia is desperately trying to change the narrative of this war. It's one of the few places where it is not in retreat. Its advances here have been slow and costly, but Russian forces have been gaining ground. There once may have been a logic to Russia's focus on capturing Bakhmut. In the early summer, it had taken the nearby cities of Severodonetsk and Lysychansk. Bakhmut was meant to be next, with the expectation that Russian forces would then march on toward Kramatorsk and Sloviansk. But that was before Ukraine launched its surprise counter-offensive in the east and south. Russian forces have been pushed back further north. The cities of Kramatorsk and Sloviansk are no longer in range of Russian artillery, as they were in July. Russia has largely been forced to change from being an offensive to a defensive army. Serhiy Cherevati, a spokesman for Ukraine's Eastern Command, still doubts the Russians have the numbers or equipment to take Bakhmut, which he says is now the concentration of its military efforts. At the same time, he said, Russia is trying to build new defenses further north around the towns of Svatov and Kremenna, where key supply lines are also now being threatened by Ukraine. Cherevati told me much now depends on how many additional forces Russia can mobilize and the quality of those reserves. So far we're seeing that they're of poor quality and they do not have enough weapons. I met the colonel in a scrapyard of destroyed Russian tanks and armored vehicles near the recently liberated city of Lyman. It's the image of the Russian army Ukraine wants to show the world. It is still restricting access for journalists who want to go to the front line. When we retreated from Lysychansk, we exhausted the enemy, said Cherevati. His expectation is that Bakhmut might do the same. As for the increase in the tempo of Russian long-range missile strikes, he says the only effect will be more motivation for Ukraine. We beat them on the battlefield, and the only advantage they have left is missiles. Besides, as reported by Express, one Ukrainian soldier captured fierce clashes with Russian troops in the extraordinary GoPro camera footage. The video, shared on social media, showed Ukrainian troops during an assault against the Russian army in the Donetsk Oblast. At one point, the soldier shouts, "The Russian cowards are running away from us." The tense clip also shows the Ukrainian soldier running out of ammunition, as he calls for resupply from comrades. The lengthy video recorded heavy small arms fire and infantry-on-infantry combat between the two sides, which later results in Russians fleeing the Ukrainian village they had occupied. During the firefight, soldiers can be seen using the Milka M32, a multiple Grande launcher. This comes as Russia continues to rely heavily on imprecise shelling instead of ground forces. Meanwhile, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky said this in his video address to citizens, Ukrinform reports. Today, during the day, an air alert was announced in most regions of Ukraine. There are new drones and enemy aircraft shot down. Active hostilities continue in the east and south of Ukraine. Our armed forces retain the initiative, Zelensky said. He commended the fighters of the 25th Separate Airborne Brigade for their skillful and thoughtful actions in destroying the enemy in the eastern direction. I am also thankful to the warriors of the 60th Separate Infantry Brigade, whose units are showing good results in the Kherson region. Only since the beginning of October, the fighters of this brigade trophied more than 30 units of Russian armored vehicles, 1,000 projectiles for tanks, and 3 Gyatsin cannons. All these weapons will definitely help liberate our land, Zelensky said. He also thanked the fighters of the 59th Separate Motorized Infantry Brigade named after Yakiv Handziak. This week, the force showed excellent results in destroying enemy equipment and ammunition. More. Newly mobilized Russian soldiers covering their forces' retreat from western Kherson could face a rout at the hands of Ukrainian troops, according to the Institute for the Study of War. The US think tank said that Russia has started its withdrawal from the southern region, and this was likely to continue over the next few weeks, but Vladimir Putin's troops could face a struggle if Ukrainian forces choose to attack. Ukraine's Southern Operational Command has said Moscow is transferring ammunition, military equipment, and units via ferry from the Dnipro River's west bank to the east bank, while 2,000 Russian troops hold the front line to cover their withdrawal by shelling Ukrainian positions. The ISW said that the Russian withdrawal requires a detachment that is well-trained, professional, and prepared to die for its compatriots to be left to hold the line against a Ukrainian attack. But Deputy Chief of the Main Operational Department of the Ukrainian General Staff, Brigadier General Alexei Romov, said Russia may withdraw its most combat-capable units from the left bank of the river and leave mobilized soldiers to cover the retreat. The ISW noted that if this was true, then Russian forces would be setting conditions for a Russian withdrawal to become a rout.